Hello there everybody, it's Miriam, and I just thought I'd record this video here to answer a really valid question, a question that I see a lot of people asking on groups about mind-body syndrome or TMS, and it's about how to do the healing work for chronic pain and other symptoms. I know that we tend to use the word work. We tend to say like do the work in order to heal, and some people are a little bit confused about what is this work really, what does it really involve? Even the word work in itself doesn't sound that that nice to some people. So I just thought that I'd explain this a little bit in more detail to explain what I mean when I say to do the work, and to simplify it for you guys. So essentially, doing the work to heal involves taking responsibility for your own healing first and foremost. So number one, it's about taking responsibility for your healing, knowing that your emotions, whatever baggage you have, whatever triggers you have, are contributing to your condition, and knowing that you are the only one who can ultimately overcome these triggers, right? And this is how the work starts. You start to notice links between your triggers and the symptoms. And then you realize, okay, I'm triggered by this issue, and this is why I'm getting these symptoms or these flare-ups. Therefore, I need to see how I can overcome this trigger. And it might be an emotional trigger, let's say a family issue, a relationship issue. It might be the trigger of the pain itself, of you not feeling okay with the body. So usually there are two kinds of work that needs to be done to overcome symptoms. So one of them is to think psychologically, as the beloved Dr. Sarno used to say, is to shift your attention from the physical problems in your body, the symptoms themselves, to the psychological issues, to those emotions that you might have been repressing or suppressing or denying, right? It's to stop actually in this process, you stop complaining or you stop giving so much attention to the symptoms, and instead you shift that attention to any emotional issues, any resentment that you're still holding on to about the past issue, anything that you still feel deeply angry or dissatisfied about, any issue that comes to mind that is of a personal or emotional nature. And this is extremely important here. A lot of people tend to switch between these emotional issues and the physical issues. Even when they, let's say, journal about these issues, they start to journal about their pain, their symptoms. They tend to get into this victim mentality of how their symptoms are ruining their lives. But that is not the actual work. That's actually taking you away from the real issue. What you need to do when you start to do the work, again, is to think psychological. So this is the premise here. Your symptoms are a result of your emotional state. They are a consequence. If you're fighting the symptoms, you're actually fighting the wrong enemy. You're fighting the consequence. You're not fighting the perpetrator. The perpetrator, in that sense, are your deepest emotions. Anything that doesn't sit well with you. Anything that's creating insecurity, resentment, and rage within you. So that is the emotional processing aspect of the work. To really get more in tune with your emotions, to express them, and to not allow the symptoms to take up all of your thoughts. To not allow the symptoms to totally distract you from your emotional problems. The second part of the work, I would say, is working on your response to the symptoms. This involves a certain amount of consistency, but it involves not buying into fear-based thoughts, for example, such as catastrophic thoughts, thoughts about your symptoms getting worse and worse. So it involves you accepting your symptoms more, accepting that they're there right now, and starting to shift from fear of the symptoms into more curiosity, into more acceptance, right? Doing so helps you release the tension and the resistance you have in your body towards the symptoms. The very tension that is actually causing the symptoms in most cases. Because if we are trying to fight the symptoms, if we see them as the enemy, we are on a high stress mode. That stress is creating more tension in our bodies, it's creating hormonal imbalances, chemical imbalances, it's creating all sorts of physical symptoms, the very symptoms that we want to overcome. So the way out is actually to resist those symptoms less by getting more acceptance of them, by being less upset at them. And working on your initial reactions to the symptoms themselves is key here. If you're in chronic pain, probably you tend to notice the symptoms intensify and then you spiral, right? You have thought after thought after thought and you end up spiraling into a deep hole and feeling really bad about your situation. It's this aspect that you need to work on. Knowing that you have a mind-body syndrome already gives you a lot of relief, a lot of hope, and knowing that your symptoms are not really as harmful as you thought, you're not going to die, you're not ill. So that danger is already kind of put aside. So now the only threat that is being perceived is your own fear of the symptoms. If you minimize that, the symptoms will go away on their own. It takes a lot of determination and consistency, of course. It's not going to be achieved overnight, but it is an essential part of what we call the work to heal. It's to change your responses to the symptoms. So I hope that this has given you an idea more or less of what to work on. There are other aspects, of course, that can help with the work. One of them is engaging in things and practices that can regulate your nervous system, taking care of yourself, taking time out, being in nature, doing activities that give you some peace and joy. That's what I call the informal part of the work. But in this video, I just thought I'd explain more or less what this work means. It's not really work at all. It's just taking action. It's just changing your previous habits and responses and getting more in tune with your emotions, really. So that's it. I hope this has given you some ideas. If you want a more detailed and guided process on how to go about this mind-body work, I offer it in my online pain-free breakthrough program, which is a 14-lesson program that you can do completely online, that will get you to really explore your own personal situation and that will give you more detailed action steps on how to overcome your own triggers. So with that said, I wish you all the best in your recovery journey, and please do not hesitate to comment and to ask me any questions about the content of this video in the comments. Thanks so very much for listening, and I wish you all the best. Until next time, bye-bye.